10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5.
Tuned into the motherfucking tracks, man. We taking over, 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 we taking over.
Hey everyone, it's Darian Simone Harvin here with another episode of Am I Allowed to Like Anything? And this time around, I have writer Michael Arceneaux, who has written for one of the publications I'm sure you frequent on the internet. He's a regular to Gawker, The Root, and Complex, and he's also contributed to New York Times Magazine, BuzzFeed, and Fusion. He's also appeared on MSNBC, NPR, and HuffPost Live. So we talk about everything from our love for Janet Mock to the importance of popping off on Twitter to loving Ann Friedman's pie charts to Ebony Magazine and The Weeknd. And he also has amazing cheekbones, so make sure that you Google him. And, you know, we cover a lot of ground. So remember that you can subscribe to Am I Allowed to Like Anything on iTunes. Enjoy, and as always, tweet me at Darian Simone to let me know what you think. I thought it was really important to have somebody like you on the podcast because you are a critic. First of all, would you self-identify as a critic? Because I would say yes. A culture critic.
I suppose I would say I was a critic, yes.
Why do you hesitate?
I don't know. I just think of myself as kind of like a writer. I've never really considered myself necessarily a journalist per se, even though that was like my major in college. And I know I do a lot of work that entails journalism, and criticism is a part of that. But I definitely usually just stick with writer because I think ideally what I'd rather be writing and what I'm actually doing a lot of the time are kind of like different. I like the fact that I can make money solely based on my opinion. But necessarily doing criticism full-time for the rest of my life is not one of my goals.
Is not one of your goals. What is one of your goals? I know that you've told me this before, but...
In the next few months, ideally specifically after Labor Day, I want to get my book sold. Publishing is asleep right now, as my agent has told me. So between this time and now, I'm trying to see how I can get my book sold. And from... getting my book sold, I want to write it. Then I want to use that to do different things that I've always really wanted to do. That is, public speaking. I would love for it to be, I'm writing something that I think, it's authentic to me, but if it can be adapted into TV. I don't necessarily want to be a staff writer, but the way Eddie Wong and all these other different writers get to be like a consulting producer, or maybe I write one or so episodes and do that. That would be ideal. And then I want to be on air, be it even like the original, like the TV medium or digital. I want to do more than just writing, because writing every day at my volume is not sustainable, at least not for me.
You write a lot.
Yes, I do.
You write a lot, but kind of circling back to that that on-air role that you're really looking to fill. You've been doing a lot with the Janet Mock show, so popular, which I love.
I love Janet Mock. All hail Janet.
I love her so much because I actually wrote something. I went to go see her on a panel that was about, I think it was like millennial feminism, something around that. And it was like Joyanne Reed, Elizabeth Plank, I believe her name is. And it's interesting because I feel like, people love to put other people in boxes. So people see her as like a transgender activist, but she's so much more than that, and that's what I love about her. Like, she is so very much like just, number one, a multi-dimensional woman, but she's also such I just love her opinions. I love the way that she goes about speaking about her opinions. I view her as a critic. I think that she's very good at looking at both sides of the spectrum, and I really love her show, and I sometimes wish that it was, I guess, bigger than what it was in a way. Like right now it lives online, right? And I guess I don't know if the goal would be TV because that's debatable in terms of what networks are and what that means nowadays, but her show is phenomenal.
Well, initially Shift was sold as, and I think that's still true, and this is like from like I was reporting the trade mags, to essentially test potential anchors and potential show formats online in that space and see what works. I mean, obviously her show has been the most successful because she is a dynamic person, and I do like that she exists beyond just identity, which is something you know I strive to do, and I think I'm already done that, where people don't necessarily associate me being a gay black man first, but it does come up a lot in my work when something gay and black happens. There are very like editors who will rush to be like, so what do you think? And write something.
And that is a blessing and a cursing.
Well, I'll go back to Janet the Great in a second because I was gonna add that as much as I loved her first book, just from the fact of like, you know, having a narrative to really see how this transformation starts from like inception until like you fully blossom. Right. One thing I just really liked about her is that she's a working class. She grew up in a working class setting. Like, she's from areas that I can identify with, that I was raised in, because I think more often than not, and it's not a jab to anybody else, but you have to be able to afford the sacrifice to work in media. And many of the very few blacks that exist in media and thrive are from backgrounds that we're not from. And, you know, the reality is I tackled on a lot of debt to be able to pursue all of this, mainly my student loans. And so for me, a lot of times I don't necessarily measure what other people consider my success, because I'm still like, well, my student loan payments are high as fuck, so I don't really know. But circling back to like the writing from identity, on one end, I don't want to be that, but then, like as you said, for me at least, a lot of times when I read a lot of gay black men, I didn't necessarily identify with a lot of what was out there.
And we've spoken about that before.
I like the fact that I can lend a different perspective. Right. And I think my perspective has a lot of different layers to it based on my background. So in some ways I like that. And one thing one of my friends told me, who's like also my editor at Gawker, he said once that you write for black people and you don't care if white people read it or not. And I never really thought of it that way. I want everyone to read my work, but I think a lot of times, one thing I learned in LA when I was briefly trying to pursue like TV writing is that you were encouraged not to write anything that seemed too black as to alienate potential people, because they would box you in. The reality is I'm black, so they're going to box me in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I like the fact that I don't dilute my voice. I think my voice is consistent no matter what outlet, be it black or mainstream, that I'm writing for. I mean, there's always sometimes you have to fine-tune yourself just a little bit. But for the most part, I feel like if you read me, you're going to see me. You're going to hear me no matter where you're reading it. And I really do appreciate if something like, at least years ago, when something was heavily edited, people would come to me like, what happened? Because that don't sound like you. Like at this point, like people know what will be me. Right. How I'm going to come across no matter what. And I really like that. And I like the fact that, you know, I guess I don't want to necessarily be like the black gay and that's it, but that's very much a part of who I am. So if I can at least elevate the conversation or at least get my perspective in those spaces where we're normally not existing, then whatever. I mean, it could be worse. I could be just like some pampered white person that has literally nothing to talk about other than being pampered and white. Right. At least I can have some different type of perspective and, again, layers and nuance to offer.
Yeah. I also think there's some grit to your voice and to your story that I at least appreciate.
Appreciate that, although I got warned yesterday. I got a call from a very concerned person.
Oh my God, you got a phone call?
Yes, from a very successful television personality telling me not to stop cursing out people online and leave them crazy folks alone.
Okay, so Michael.
I usually watch that.
Okay, remember when I first met you? Me, you, Danielle, we were in Dumbo, and I said, I don't understand how grown folks are popping off on Twitter like this.
You from a nice background and shit, though. That's what that is.
Oh my God.
I'm not that motherfucker you just talk crazy to.
Right.
I have my limits, and so normally I do ignore a lot of people online because people, I mean, a lot of people give me really an ample amount of praise and I'm very grateful for that, but then people come at you sideways. And I'm sorry, I don't care if it's through your phone or not, you're not going to say some dumb shit to me all the time and be belligerent about it.
I understand that.
Point. I do get that whole mature thing, like just leave them alone, I guess. I get it, girl, but no. I'm used to motherfuckers talking to me crazy in person. I ain't let it go down like that. So I can't, even on the phone, no. Maybe it's petty, but no, people will try you. People think they can talk to you.
Yeah, people will come for you.
Especially when they hide behind anonymity.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm in a place where people don't come for me online. So it's like, who knows the day that somebody will, what I will say, what I will do. But until that point, I'm playing the Beyonce card.
I want to be clear. As you described, I'm a critic, so I write a lot of criticism. So that leaves me susceptible to my own criticism.
Right.
And I totally understand that. But a lot of people don't understand the difference between constructive criticism and you just throwing shots.
Right.
Like yesterday, somebody said, "Oh, you must object to." It was something I wrote about Russell Wilson and Sierra and that whole biblical justification of celibacy, which I thought was a crock and very patriarchal, and his explanation was dumb. She went, "Oh, you must object to that because what the Bible says about sodomy." And I'm like, and I ran down a whole list of biblical things that I'm sure her ass is guilty of doing. And I told her, I'm like, if you are not a virgin and you've worked on Sunday, I'll see you in hell. And even in her Abbey, she was like mixing fabrics. I'm like, that's just as much a sin as me sticking my whatever in somebody. So
yeah,
it's those kind of things. And then like ever since I wrote about Ice Cube's Rolling Stone interview, a lot of straight men have just been.
They've been coming for you.
I like Ice Cube, but you can like somebody and not like something that they say. Everything is in absolutes.
Right. I wanted to circle back to something that you said about your work being edited and working with editors, because I actually think that this will help a lot of writers. Let's say you get back something or an editor has really heavy edits that for what you have written and you feel like it takes away from your voice. How do you handle that?
I don't know. When I was younger, I think maybe I didn't fight back as much as I should have. But even then that was pretty rare. But like even actually in June, or maybe it was last month, it might have been July, the summer's kind of turned into a blur, but there was an editor at a publication, very well known. I ranted about it on Facebook.
Do I need to friend? I need to friend you on Facebook, obviously.
Probably not. Well, I don't care. It was the Washington Post. I wrote an essay for their new single section called Soloish that was about me ideally wanting to date a black man and not having the best luck with that in New York, thus learning to let go of these kind of, I don't know, not insecurities, that's not a good word, but I was questioning, I'm like, if I want to be the change that I speak of in my work, then me dating like Latino, and Latino is ethnicity, so I'm very clear like that could be, you can be black and Latino. And in some cases they were black and Latino. But as I put in the thing, in most cases they were like Mark Antony if he ate more steak. So very specific slant. Like, I'm black, learning to date people that don't look like me and be comfortable with that. And not feeling like if I don't know where my love life will take me. That's its own monster.
I don't know where my love life will take me.
But let's say if I ended up with somebody who is not black, that doesn't necessarily take away from what I've written or what. Like, I have my ideals, but I need to not limit myself in that way to live up to some standard that I wrote in an essay. I think that's too harsh on me. So there's a very specific slant. This turn, some of the notes were, well, you didn't really mention anything about black homophobia and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I sent you very specific clips, and one of them was how black people are not more homophobic than anybody else. You will never catch me lending myself to that narrative.
Right.
And then there was a line in there that I made, my friend had a joke saying like, and I flipped it, my ideal black man is probably in Louisiana at a crawfish boil, like drinks some. So I put in a thing, she told me I sounded like a caricature. And I said, I am a black man from Houston, Texas, and my last name is Arceneaux. How would I sound like a caricature talking about
that
crawfish?
Is your
that is literally who
that's
I
your
am.
Life. Like, that is what that's a part of who you are in a way.
And then we argued for more than a week back and forth about edits. It was like they didn't pay that much to go through all this. And then the morning it went up, it said, I'm a black man who doesn't date people that look like me.
Oh my God.
Which is nothing I've ever said.
Oh my God.
I didn't say anything close to that. So
oh my God.
I remember being at the gym and I literally got so angry. And I'm popping. I'm like, if you don't take this down,
if you don't
change
change this headline,
change this headline or take it down because you are going to fuck me over.
Right.
Like, I mean, for them, that type of headline would generate a lot of clicks, but then everyone would hate me, and people would not forget that.
Right.
And I wouldn't blame
the
them.
angle that they came at you for or came at you through would have been through that headline. It wouldn't have been about the content of that work.
And I actually found out later on a date, the dude told me, some boy mentioned, I guess he went on a day before me or whatever, was complaining about me based on the essay and that. And I'm just like, here we go. My way of that, I mean, and to answer your question, like, every step of the way, I challenge that because I'm like, this clip is not worth my reputation, and it's not worth what could be potentially very damaging effects to my name as a writer. Right. And I just got really pissed with the title, and I demanded, and I made sure I took to like Facebook. At this point, there are a lot of people in media who do pay attention to me, who know who I am. Right. I want to make clear, like, this is not, things. And there have been sometimes with losing battles with headlines. I wrote something with Esquire. I did not agree with that headline, but I just warn people to ignore the headline and just look at the actual words. So sometimes you're not necessarily. I would just advise anybody to really fight for their voice. Be respectful, but be very clear. And I think even this particular instance with the Washington Post editor, I just felt like she was like she thought she was a well-meaning white woman, like liberal, and they think they can just talk to you anyway. And no, you don't know better than me. Right. It was so amazing. You're worried about me being a caricature, and she told me she was trying to protect me. I don't need her protection. Right. And more importantly, had you stuck with that headline, I would have been another black person complaining about not dating black people, which isn't in of itself is a trope. Right. They love to trot out black people who aren't comfortable with their own, and then they project that onto like the community. You're not going to get me to do that because I am very much happily black. So I'm not. So that would, I don't know. It's a long-winded way of answering that question.
So tell me some of the things that you've written recently that you are like really proud of, you loved the way that it turned out.
Everything I've written for Gawker under Jason Parham, I'm very proud of and happy about. The essay that I wrote about my mom, which turned out to be the title, Her Jesus Doesn't Love Me, Closure with My Mom, I think that for me that was really cathartic. I like the essay I wrote for Fusion about using hookup apps and being recognized.
I love Fusion.
The stigmas that people associate to like hookup culture and people who engage in it time to time. Oh, and I really am proud of this essay that I wrote called What Janet Jackson Taught Me About Sex. And there's going to be like a broader version of how I originally envisioned it in Ebony, because I'm going to have a column called Pop That. It's like going to be the intersection of pop culture and sex. So I'm really proud of those things. I think for me, I'm really proud of the personal essays that I've written, because that's something I really enjoy doing. Right. And I like to really just be completely like myself. Right. Like I would love to do more writing like that. I don't necessarily want to be like Carrie Bradshaw, but I like the idea of. I mean, I know everyone's write personal essays now, but that's something I really always wanted to do.
And that's something that I feel like anyone can always enjoy. Like one of the reasons why I don't like riding the subway, but one of the reasons why I do love it is because and the subway is where I get my best ideas ever. And I'll never forget the times where I'll be sitting on the subway and I'll just be thinking about some experience or something in my life that has gone on, and I come up with a perfect title for a personal essay. Like I have something coming out. I'm really happy. It's going to be like my first print piece about my grandmother's restaurant and me growing up there and what I would eat and what it means to me now. And that was so therapeutic for me to write about, because you gain such an appreciation for like yourself. And I think that's important.
I really like reading personal essays, particularly people who are self-aware. And there's a big difference in that, because some people write and they're not very self-aware, so it doesn't make for an interesting
Self-awareness is such a thing that everybody needs to strive for. Like, I know it seems so common, but there are people who are truly not self-aware, and that should be something we should always be turning the mirror on ourselves. I think.
I actually am really proud of a lot of the writing I've done this year. Sometimes it can just be a blur because it's a lot. The volume sometimes makes it hard to remember, but I've written things this year that I'm really happy about. And I was really, really happy to be a part of like the conversation about Empire at the New York Times Magazine. I'm glad like at Complex I had the space to say Black people are not more homophobic than anybody else, and instead of just being anecdotal, which I think a lot of people, they argue that point from anecdote, like very statistical breakdown, where it's like in data and so many, like I think that, because for me, I just want to make people laugh and make people think, and I think I've done a really good job of that so far this year.
I think that you've done a really good job of that for a while, in my opinion.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to have you on my podcast, because so much of what I'm trying to get to is a point where it's like you're allowed to, number one, like things, but watch the way that you critique things. Like what does it mean to really critique something? And I think that it comes with age and time and experience that I feel like you...
I really like your idea for a podcast because I think for like the internet can be... I think people abuse the word negative, but it can be a very negative space. And
it can be a
lot
negative
of criticism
space.
Does from the fact that fuck you, I don't like you, blah 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 blah. Like even I think a lot of people misconstrue the essay I wrote for The Root about Ice Cube and his comments in Rolling Stone, because I like Ice Cube. You can you can like
something.
Love isn't just like complete adulation. Love can be criticism. Love can be pushing somebody to be better. Love can be a call out. Love can be all those things. Like genuine concern and care about somebody is not just giving them like ample amount of praise. That doesn't help you grow and evolve. Right. And in that instance, I'm like, if you sound like you did 20 years ago, that is a problem. Right. More than 20 years ago, like 25, like you do have to evolve. Like you have a family. Think about that attitude.
You have a family.
But people are just so quick to be like, oh, you must... I love when people say, oh, you must be gay. Whenever I defend women, that comes up a lot. That always happens. Because apparently you can only be gay to actually want to be nice and think of women as equals who don't deserve degradation. Yeah, that always happens. I get that all
You know that gif where I don't even know who it is, but they're like rubbing their temples? Yeah. That's like what I do all of the time.
But I gotta stop cursing people out, as I was told yesterday. I gotta stop it.
I don't think you should... I don't know if you should stop.
It's gonna happen again,
but I'm gonna maybe you should just... maybe you should... I mean, honestly, I don't feel like I'm in a position to tell you what to do, Michael, but picking and choosing your battles, I feel like the punch is so much grander when you do that. I just always go with the Beyonce approach. Like, speak through your actions. I'm too good to be addressing you. Like, even though that's like, well, why do you think you're better than other people? And it's like, if I don't have some sense of confidence for myself, I'm going to run myself rampant.
No, sometimes you are just better than some people.
And that too.
But that's just what it is. If you're a terrible person, you're a terrible person.
Right. It's why should I rise above is like one of my mantras. I'm just like, rise above, be great. It doesn't mean you're rising above other people. It doesn't mean you think you're better than other people. It's just like, in order to be the best Darian Simone Harvin, I cannot address you.
I'm so afraid. I can't wait to see you at 30.
You know what? I can't wait to see myself at 30 because
that's so far away from you.
That's so far away from me. But somebody told me, a grown woman told me that I looked 12 2 weekends ago. And I was like, there's a difference between telling me I look 12, which I feel is offensive because I'm not 12, and you saying I look really young for my age. Like, there is a difference. Anyways, I want to go back to your explanation about criticism, and I want to know, when you're writing, and I know that you don't always love, we're focusing on criticism, and as you've explained, there's so much more that you are brilliant at.
I still am grateful for what I get to do. I don't want to make it seem like I'm an ingrate.
Oh no, for sure.
I'm very grateful, and I enjoy a lot of what I do. It's just the volume can sometimes wear me out. But okay. As overall, I enjoy what I do, and I love that I get to literally make a living off of my opinion and my thoughts and stuff. That's a blessing, and I don't want to discount that.
Yeah, and I love it too because your stuff always sounds really smart to me. And so with that being said, I want to know, what do you keep in mind when you are, it's one thing to have an opinion and to pop it off, but it's a whole other thing to write about it and to put it into these words that make people think, or you're pushing the conversation forward. Are there things that you keep in mind? Is it just something you've learned over time? Is it even something that you can explain?
I write about religion and sex and politics and pop culture and race. I write about issues that are very, like, contentious, so I get, in some respect, like, somebody's always going to be mad. We have very much, like, aha culture where people will dig up old tweets or dig up something like,
yes.
Oh, look at you now.
It happens all of the time.
And we also don't give people a chance to even, like, grow and evolve.
That is my big thing, is, like, I had to get to a phase where it was like, no, I'm not the best writer in the world, but literally the only way that I'm going to get better is if I continue to do it. And some of it might end up on the internet, and you kind of have to be okay with that, because for me, that's just the nature of what I'm trying to be and who and where I want my career to go. It's like, yes, I can write in a journal, right?
I'm actually glad that because 10 years ago when I was interning, my blog, I wrote on it often, and that was my practice. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I learned more from doing that than I did often in the classroom, because that's how I became a better writer.
Right.
And that's how I honed my voice. It's actually how I met Danielle Smith, because I remember emailing her, which is a long-time practice of mine. I co-email people. I reach out. Mm-hmm. She found me through her blog. She used to have a blog. Yes, Naked Cartwheels.
Yeah, I think that's what she told me it was called.
Yes, Naked Cartwheels.
And I was like, where did it go? And she was like, oh, I had to put it away, girl.
She did put it away, but it was really good. But
yeah.
When people on Blogspot, which I was on,
mm-hmm.
I sent her my links, and that's how we met. I ended up meeting her that summer at like a book party that she had, I think, whatever. But yeah, I had that space to just kind of say whatever.
Right.
I don't think people now have the freedom. Well, you have the freedom. I just think you probably will face a lot more criticism, and it'll be harsh because people are less forgiving.
Right. You'll face more scrutiny, even if it's indirect scrutiny. Like, even if somebody reads something that you write, they're going to remember you for those words and for your Twitter avatar, and they're going to feel like they kind of know you and they've never met you before. And I feel dangerous for people who are starting to do anything that has to do with creative expression or putting stuff on the internet. And it is hard. Like, it's almost like you can't fuck up in this space.
Not to bring it back to the ratchet, but that's also like, I think sometimes people tend to think they know me because they read me. I'm like, you don't know me.
You don't know me.
Therefore, don't talk to me all kinds of crazy.
Right.
Because I'm like, if anything, if you read my work, I don't sound like, to me, I don't sound like the kind of person you could just say some crazy shit to.
Right.
Yeah, people do get like I don't know. I don't know, writing a journal. I don't know. I think you just might probably need a thicker skin. I can't say that I wouldn't still do it, but yeah, people are really less forgiving. I think a lot of us, I mean, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still trying to know what not to do. Something I wrote this year might make me cringe in 5 or 10 years. I don't know yet, but
right.
I just think people will literally dig up something that you wrote 10 years ago. Like, you might have had a mood that day.
Right.
And that'll be, like, slapped on you.
Right. And you're like...
Kind of like the Trevor Noah thing, although, yeah, maybe one day I might just delete all my tweets.
Oh... I can't even get into that with you right now. We got to change the topic, Michael.
I love him, though, since you like to talk about things that I love. I love him.
I think he's very good looking.
He's so cute. He looks so good in that Vogue.
Oh, he's so good looking. Okay, so we both know who Anne Friedman is.
Yes.
I really like her work, first of all, and also she has a great podcast with Amina Tusso. And I was recently, I don't know how I came across this. She must have posted it to Twitter, but she makes these pie charts.
I saw it after you told me about them. Yes.
And I thought, this is how corny I am. I thought that this was something very new that she was just doing. And I love them because they're handwritten. Like, clearly she makes the circle with something and the lines are very precise, but you can tell that this is her handwriting, and they're so funny, and there are all these different topics, and she's been doing this for over a year. Like, there's 8 pages of, let's read some of them. Why are we embarrassed to what are we embarrassed to be so bummed out about? 20% people who don't see the point of flossing. And I think what's funny is that when I heard that, I didn't think of like dental flossing. I thought of like flossing, like the act of it, like the slang word.
Your black kicked in.
Yeah. 20% realization that online impulse buy won't arrive 5 to 7 business days. 20% the quality of this coffee shop scone, valid. 20% the special in memoriam issue of People magazine. And then another 20%, all those other women who have the same leather Madewell tote that we all do, which is true. Do you know what Madewell tote that is?
I have no idea what that means.
Oh my God. Everybody has one. And I was going to get one, but I'm not any longer. Anyways, I just think they're super clever and really smart. Another one, why are we so eager to defund Planned Parenthood? How are we coping with the failure of our startup? And I just think that a lot of
I love
these...
writing a killer TED Talk about it.
Yeah.
Very true.
Writing a killer TED Talk about it. Adding it to our CV. The combination of meditative exercises and heavy drinking. Just really clever. And I wanted to shout these out because they were something that I like. And I would suggest people just to check them out because they're like really fun and creative. And she's got a bunch, like 8 pages worth. And I just also think that they're very real and applicable to so many, particularly women's lives. But anyways, shout out to her and shout out to her pie charts because I thought it was really, it's just a creative, fun thing that you can do. And I also think that this is a really good example of taking something that you realize that you're good at and that you enjoy doing and being consistent, somewhat consistent with it. So, and you know, I saw this on Twitter, and even though she may not be making like money from these, it kind of, I feel like, adds to her brand and what she's good at articulating.
Pudding cup. That's good.
Relevant cups, bra cups, coffee cups, world cups, Pim's cup, diva cup. I won't discuss the diva cup with you. And pudding. So yeah. Okay, Michael. So this is my last question that I ask everyone, and we kind of already talked about it, but what is your dream right now? What do you think about? What do you want right now?
I want my first book sold. I want the space and the finances to just focus on that majorly. But even if the other part doesn't happen, I just want it sold. And I wanted to do, like, I'm happy, well, I've been content with what I'm doing, but I've always wanted to do more. I think my dream is just to finally be doing all of the other different things that I think my talent extends to beyond just writing. Mm-hmm. Or even just doing different types of writing. But ideally, like, I think I have more talent than just writing on Microsoft Word or, like, Google Docs, WordPress. And I like for that to be shown more.
Yeah.
With a very nice check. So that is my dream, and I'm actively working towards it, and I think I'm slowly but surely building towards that.
I think you are too.
I thought you were going to ask me what thing I actually like, a product or something.
I know. Now we're going to move on to plus ones. This is...
fault. I skipped, my bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Bad guess.
Okay, so tell me what your plus one is.
It's an old song, but I like The Weeknd's Earned It. I'm not really...
That's not an old song.
It's older. Like, that movie came out, like, in February, so it's, like, ancient by this time.
Wasn't it in,
Well, I wasn't a really big... I've never been a big fan of The Weeknd. I listened to his first mixtape, and I'm like, it just makes me want to kill myself.
Oh my God.
And then I read the New York Times magazine profile about him. Mm-hmm. So it made me go revisit some of his songs, like the 3 more recent ones, and I really love Earned It. And I do like Can't Feel My Face because it's like very Michael Jackson, but
yeah.
I really love Earned It because it's like really perfect. It's like a very perfect, it's like his music is still haunting, but this is like catchier. He sounds really good because honestly, I used to think The Weeknd's music is like, I think I tweeted this. That's like the last time you have sex before you commit suicide. His music was a little bit too gloomy for me. And I don't mind gloomy music, but he was a lot. But I love Earned It. Okay. And I think I might be a Weeknd fan now. Because I actually like Can't Feel My Face too. I like The Weeknd.
I like Can't Feel My Face because that song to me represents a good time. I think in my head, I just assumed that that The Weeknd was one of those artists that everybody likes. And that's not the case, I'm learning. And which is cool because now a lot of people are kind of coming up like, oh, wow, I really like you, Weeknd.
I think he's really interesting because, I mean, Miguel did that shady interview where he was comparing him. He put down Frank Ocean and like Weeknd was a part of the conversation. Like, we'll just go and see. It's interesting because I think Miguel really wants that commercial, and I like Miguel. Miguel wants that commercial
success
that the Weeknd is enjoying now. But I think the Weeknd is somebody who had a very niche thing.
He did,
and then he realized, I wanna do more. And then when you read the New York Times mag profile, he went to Max Martin, but instead of like just taking whatever Max Martin wrote for him, he still wrote his own lyrics ultimately.
Right.
And together they came up with like, how can I take what I'm doing already
and elevate it
and make it more widely
consumable. And I think that's a good point because, you know, Ariana Grande and The Weeknd have a song together, and even to me that didn't feel, just in my opinion, like contrived. Like, I didn't look at that song and go, here's The Weeknd trying to be mainstream, because it was still very much his voice. It was still very much like his look, his style, and it didn't. And I think that's a really interesting point about, I think, how you should approach life is you shouldn't just take what people give you, and you should be willing to work and collaborate with people to come to the place that you want to be.
Yeah, I mean,
and we all need each other.
Some artists can't really write their own stuff, and I'm like, okay, but this is somebody, and it's okay to want more people to like you. And I think sometimes people give you shit about that, but I'm like, it's good. Like, you're still being authentic to yourself, but you reached out to somebody more experienced who can help you get there while still being authentically you. That's actually the best relationship between, like, even a writer and an editor. Just make me better. Don't interject too much of yourself into my voice. Right. So I like him. I might even, the album comes out next week. I don't know if I'll buy it. If I stream it and I like it, then I might buy it.
So
I still like to buy music.
What streaming service are you using right now?
I'm not really using it, to be honest. I still have a free account on Spotify. I think because I work from home. Yeah. And I have so much music anyway.
So you're just listening to that.
Them.
Right.
Like, sometimes maybe I'll get on Spotify. And I see myself probably eventually buying Spotify, like paying for a subscription. But as of now, I'm like, I have like all these songs from like decades. Like, why would I? Right. I don't really need it as much as. But if I worked in an office, I would surely probably be on Spotify already.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you see the potential for endorsements in this podcast? Liking things. That's a fucking endorsement.
It is.
I need to start being smarter. Every episode, I get a little smarter. I get a little wiser. That's all I'm really asking for.
You can get some endorsements. Get that Bevel money. They already come in all the black people.
Yeah, for real.
I hope I was a good guest.
Are you kidding me? What are you talking about?
I'm very aloof. I try to tell you that. I'm very aloof.
I know you're aloof, but we still get along.
I'm in my little shoebox. I don't know stuff unless people tell me in person. Or maybe I'll get emails now. So, like, some girl from Tanzania was like, I'm coming to New York in the fall. You want to be my intern? I'm like, girl, I don't need an intern, but I'll, like, have coffee with you. She was just eager, which is nice. Yeah. But I was like, oh, I'm an old head now. Like, I realize I'm an old head.
Don't call yourself that.
I'm entering old head trajectory. Like, I even wrote about it for Ebony, and, like, all the people born around my age were like, yeah, we're becoming old heads. Like, I don't have the linen pants on yet, but it's coming.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned Ebony because I'm actually going to make Ebony Magazine my +1. In the past few months...
All hail Kierna Mayo. She did that.
Yes. Ebony has become a magazine that I would subscribe to or pick up an issue for. And I just really appreciate that because they're not veering away from the issues, which they haven't been doing for a while. Like, they've been making statements with their covers and whatnot. Because
that is the genius of Kierna Mayo.
Yes, because I have not connected with a black magazine in a long time. I don't think ever. I don't think I've ever felt a connection to a black magazine in this capacity before. And I just... Okay, so, like, with the hard list, Do the Hard List is all about getting diverse types of writers. And it's like, I'm always making sure that there are black publications in the hard list. Like, that's something that I really, really try to pay attention to because when it comes to our narrative, it's so important that we are virally sharing things that are written by black publications and by people of color. That's my opinion.
What I think what Ebony is becoming, or what is under Kiernan Mayo, it reminds me of Howard. Howard is the most diverse place I've ever been because I realize how much diversity goes beyond just race.
Right.
You have every facet of blackness, and I think under Kiernan Mayo, who she went to Hampton, but whatever.
You Howard Hampton people, I literally cannot handle it. Y'all need to let it go. Seriously, what are you doing?
It's a thing. You
oh
can't
my
let
god,
it go.
it's like a oh god.
You can't let it go. It's like Beyonce and Carrie. This is gonna be a thing forever.
Oh my god.
But I just think she's genius. She gets it. I'm very happy that we even have a space in Ebony magazine under Kiernan Mayo because she's everything that you just said, and I think.
I hope I get to meet her one day.
You should reach out. She's good about that. She's been super booked lately, but yes.
Yeah,
I
can
in
imagine.
a minute, but yes, Kiernan is great.
How do you know her?
She was running Ebony Digital. So when I was just visiting from LA and I met with like the crew, like Jamila and all them, I finally met Kiernan in person. I was like, oh, you even know who I am? She's like, yes. And then I just started to see her more, and she's just great. Kiernan's somebody you can talk to for a few minutes, and she didn't realize that like genius just pours out. She's giving me so many good ideas, or just kind of put my ideas together in ways that I didn't think of just in like mere minutes. So it's like good to be around somebody like that with vision.
I love people with vision, and I believe that I'm somebody with vision.
You definitely have vision.
Thank you. So I like to meet other people with vision, and I just love mixing vision with action.
You have far more foresight than I think you might even realize. There's a reason why everybody keeps saying, "Oh my God, you're like how old?" I'm so impressed. I mean, there's one thing about having direction, but like you have like a long game, which is really impressive. I'm gonna keep saying impressive because it's perfect. But yes, I'm sure Danielle has told you this.
Yes, Danielle. I shouldn't even put an before that. That's a resounding yes, because Danielle Smith is one of my like biggest supporters, like people in my life who just like encourage me in like every sense of the word. So you're right. And I think I kind of know that about myself, but right now everything I do is about doing things that I enjoy doing, creating content that I love, and finding a way to also like mix that with creating things that people actually enjoy.
You already realize you don't want to do things that you don't want to do. Like,
right.
That alone puts you ahead of so many other people.
And
you have the luxury. I don't say luxury, but it is a luxury in a way.
It is a luxury.
To be able to like, I don't want to do this, therefore I won't do that. I'm going to go pursue something I want. Because some people are often beyond their control, like stuck. It's not just easy to like escape things the way people make it seem. Like some people are like, oh, just if you're not happy with your job, quit it. Life don't work like that.
Life does not work that way at all. And this goes back to diversity and different types of privilege, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my big things too is there's racial diversity, there's economic diversity, there's political diversity, there's educational diversity.
Right.
There are all different types of diversity. In my long game, and in my future, I want 360 diversity. So like to me, diversity includes African American people, and it includes Asian people, and it includes white people, and it includes Hispanics and Spanish people and Asian. It includes everybody. People who have disabilities, people who have learning disabilities, people who have mental disabilities, physical disabilities, everybody. That is what I want diversity to be in my book, and that is what I want my work to reflect also. So anyways, yes. I'm sorry, I'm going on a spiel.
No,
This is not even about me.
Good times.
So thank you, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really glad this happened, and I just appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Oh,
Do you want to go get a drink, or are you busy?
Let's grab a drink now. I do gotta go something at I can be after 7. Let's get a drink though.
Okay.